there, hello, welcome back and all that. So yeah, here we are, the last traditional game in the Mega Man X marathon, because Command Mission, the game after this, is more of an RPG than a 2D platform, but we'll get to that in due time. Firstly, I'd like to thank everybody that showed up to my panel over at AVGC this year in Secaucus, New Jersey. It's literally called a video game con. Before then, it used to be in Parsippany, New Jersey, but it was in like a POW youth center or some other shit, and they recently just got a new venue. It's much better than before. I had a great time. A lot of people had a great time. It was very relaxing. I'm glad I was able to attend this, so thank you to the staff for inviting me for that one. And Pat, if you happen to be listening, thank you once again for the Chaos Emerald donation. Maybe I can go collect all 7 finally and wish for a decent 3D Sonic game. And special shout outs to all the fans I met in Anime Week in Atlanta last week in Georgia. That was strictly for personal reasons. I didn't host a panel or anything like that, so I didn't really announce that I was going. I just needed to get away for a bit, and I wanted to catch up with a few friends of mine, and needless to say, we had a pretty damn good time. Well, anyway, here we are, Mega Man X8, the last one, and after that double whopper of shit, I mean, where the fuck do you go from there? Well, it seems the best answer Capcom could think of in this case was backwards, because Mega Man X8 does away with the 3D gameplay completely in favor of going back to 2D action. It's still 2.5D, but one look at this game and you can tell the development team figured it was probably for the best to replicate what worked in the past. Indeed, to compliment the game right off the bat, Mega Man X8 is nowhere close to matching its incredibly sluggish predecessor, Mega Man X7, and graphically, I think it's a caliber above as well. There's more color to go around, I feel environments are more distinguished. Yeah, it still gets monotonous from time to time, but I love the detail put into these areas. I'm very thankful for that. But let's get that story out of the way first, because so throughout the years, the Maverick epidemic has been increasingly becoming a sore spot for the humans. And now that we're at the end of the series, for now at least, may I ask, where the fuck are humans in this series? For as much as the Maverick hunters yearn to protect them and how they're always caught in between the Reploids and their endless struggles, we never really see any humans around here or their perspective on things. I can only think of Dr. Kane and yeah, that's it. I mean, I guess I can count Dr. Light, but he's just a fancy hologram now. It probably wouldn't make much of a difference, sure, but I think it would have made things a little more interesting in the grander scheme of things, if anything, just to see the human side of it, to get that perspective. So humans are starting to worry that Mavericks will soon make their lives on Earth a living hell, so together with newly advanced Reploids, led by the clearly not evil Illuminate, they begin work on the Jacob Project, an orbital elevator that'll allow humans to travel to the moon and colonize it. Yeah, Jacob Project. Like the latter, X8 has a couple of religious references for some not so subtle symbolism, the moon representing heaven, the first stage being called Noah's Park, and that made me laugh, I don't know why. In this game, Sigma looks like the fucking devil, and Illuminate's ultimate attack is called Paradise Lost. Is this Mega Man X or Final Fantasy? It's not a big deal. It's more amusing than thoughtful. It's just, I don't know why they suddenly wanted to reference religious concepts. Maybe it sounded cool to them. Oh, and if you couldn't guess that Sigma was in this game or that Illuminate was really a bad guy, I don't know what to tell you. Sigma was a safe assumption because, of course, but Illuminate, he's the leader of the Jacob Project with a seriously creepy demeanor, and those advanced Reploids that are helping build that orbital elevator, yeah, they can copy Reploids like Axel over here, and the Reploid they choose to copy? Sigma. That is just a surplus of red flags there. And I was kind of hoping X8 would pull an M. Night Shyamalan and throw some sort of twist into the mix, but everything plays out exactly how you think it would. Nothing new for the Mega Man X series for sure, but a little more disappointing than usual, and somewhat confusing because it's implied that the Jacob Project, Illuminate, and the advanced Reploids are all thanks to the work of Sigma from behind the scenes. He even refers to the new Reploids as his children because, yeah, they all have a little bit of Sigma in them too. Ugh. But then Illuminate acts as if he's been pulling all the strings and that the rebellion was his idea, so either he's lying or maybe he was programmed by Sigma to betray Sigma to make Sigma's goals harder to achieve? It's not written very well, but alright then. It's a standard Mega Man X story besides all that. Development of the Jacob Project is threatened when the unexpected return of Vile puts a damper on things. It's funny too because they play up Vile as X and Zero's arch nemesis, and sure, he's certainly one of the most recognizable villains, but the last time he was here was in X3, and in case you forgot, that was 5 games ago. Arch nemesis my ass. But Vile kidnaps Illuminate and 8 new Mavericks pop up to cause a ruckus, leaving X, Zero, and Axel with a huge mess to clean up. Accompanying them are their new navigators for this mission. I mean, Alia is back once more, but now there's also Pallet and Lair, who specialize in boss strategies and secret pathways for additional upgrades. And don't worry if you're thinking, shit, 3 navigators, that means a shitload of annoying notifications, but don't stress out about it because X8 lets you turn off navigators completely if you just want to explore the levels for yourself. We got a couple of things that's been given a fresh coat of paint here. For starters, X and the gang are rocking rocking more streamlined designs, and I was a little worried at first because on paper these new designs jive at me very well. I like how you can actually see most of the characters' eyes so that they can better convey emotions, that they don't look so angry all the time because of how the helmet acted like furrowed eyebrows. That said, when I first saw these designs in action, I was like, holy fuck, look at these noodle limbs. Everyone's more realistically proportioned this time. Not too much, but enough to be noticeable. It's something I care less and less for as I played the game, so I should stress it's not really that big of a deal. These new models and such are fine, even better when in action. Though when animated cutscenes, the body movement's okay, but everyone's faces never really move past the whole I think I left my wallet in the taxi cab sort of face. It's just a bit jarring. They gave Aelia boobs now because I guess it wasn't obvious enough that she was a girl before, and this new navigator, Layer, I mean, I love a good underboob, but this is a bit much. And Palette, I got nothing for her. What the fuck is that shit on her head? It's like they snapped a stapler in half and put it on the sides of her head. You know what though? Kudos on actually giving a shit about the voice acting and such this time. It's much better than X7. I think it's the same people who went and did the voice work for Maverick Hunter X, which if you remember, I thought had damn good performances. X, Zero, Axel, the Navigators, Vile, everyone's put in a good show this time, and there's not much to complain about here. But, you know, we're on Mega Man X8 now, and if you've been following this since the beginning of the marathon, I mean, we know how it works. It's one thing I love about doing these sort of marathons. I don't have to explain that you can jump and shoot in every video. That shit's a given at this point, you know? And I want to say that as the final game in the X series so far, X8 definitely feels like it ends on a good note. To start with the gameplay, we're back to the fast and fluid action we've seen in games prior. Even with my concerns on the 2.5D approach, control is smooth and responsive, wall jumping doesn't feel as awkward as an X7, and to stress again, 3D action has been taken out completely. Even with these ride bike sections, you never expand beyond the basic cardinal directions. I feel because of this, the development team didn't have to worry so much about how a Mega Man X game works in 3D, and simply use the polygonal graphics to spruce up the action in dynamic ways. And since we're on the level design now, there's a lot I like here, but the low points are quite obnoxious. Mega Man X8 does good enough in making every level feel unique while staying true to the formula. Like, I love the stealth sections in Pitch Black. I can admire a level that puts my reflexes to work without overly punishing me for screwing up. If I get caught by one of these spotlights, then I gotta deal with some robots for a bit, but then I can move on. Next time I'll try to be a little more careful. The robot sequences in Metal Valley were full of energy and action. Doesn't overstay its welcome, unlike whatever the hell they thought this was here. Optic Sunflower Stage tests your killing abilities against these cute little things that I swear are more expendable than the Servbots and Mega Man Legends. You wreck their shit everywhere in this game. But if you do it fast enough, you get better rewards. Shit, if you do it perfectly, then you get this special warp that sends you, oh hey look, it's Cutman. Look at it guys, it's Cutman. He's easy as shit, but there he is. Did you know I had a ton of people flood my DMs making sure I knew about this Easter egg, assuming I didn't already know about it myself or didn't want me to be surprised for myself? You guys are great, thanks. There are a few levels I don't like in Mega Man X8, and it's all because of the same problem. They take too fucking long. Dynasty and Central White are both ride bike levels, and damn, they just go on. I mean, if you're good enough, you can end Dynasty pretty quickly if you just lay on the damage and grab every boost canister along the way, because the stage ends once you deal enough damage to this guy. What was his name again? Gigabolt Man O' War? The fuck kind of name is this? No, really, every other Maverick up until this point has some sort of animal motif next to their objective. What the hell's a Man O' War? A jellyfish? Oh shit, it is. Well, fuck me. But yeah, no matter how well you do in Central White, there's no way to speed up the ride bike here. And if you forget to bring X with you to get the light capsule, then you gotta do it all over again because the capsule's located at the end of the level. Burn Rooster's level, Inferno, is the absolute worst with this shit. You start with this slow auto-scroller section, then you gotta wall climb a whole lot with instant kill spikes, then you gotta do another slow auto-scroller section, which God help me feels like it goes on forever. Then you finally fight the boss, but then the stage doesn't immediately end when you kill it. Instead, you have to climb up frantically to the top before the magma kills you, and then you proceed to warp out. That is clearly padding. Come on, easily the worst level in the game. Mega Man X8 does have good level design throughout, it's just those low moments are hella awkward to deal with, and I noticed that most of it has to do with spikes. Like this section of Optic Sunflower Stage, I've never seen design like this in X so far. I mean, why is this like this? Then you got these twisty, turny rooms in Primrose. When I got to this section near the end of the game and saw all the damn spikes and how you had to get through them, I thought, ooh yeah, somebody was crunched for time here, Jesus. At least the bosses don't take a week to destroy. With the proper weakness, these guys go down in no time. You still have to watch out for their desperation attacks and more aggressive patterns when you begin taking out enough of their health. And I like this. It doesn't make the battles feel mindless like before since you're still required to remain on your toes, and yet it's still beneficial for you to bring the proper weapon since it still does so much damage. And now you also get this special double attack when you fill up this special meter. It's a little weird to trigger because you have to be close enough to the enemy so that this barrier hits them when you press the button, making it a little risky in some regard. But once it connects, that cinematic attack takes away a good chunk of health. And as before, you get new weapons whenever you destroy a Maverick, and I love how X8 brings back the demonstrations on what every weapon does for every character this time, instead of just relying on a description. Wait, weapon get? Where'd the proper English go? Well shit, now it feels like I'm collecting Shine Sprites in Super Mario Sunshine.
What am I fighting for?
You're able to choose between X, Zero, and Axel from the start this time, so that's good, and you can rock 2 characters at any given time, switchable with just the push of a button. X is about the same as before, can't say much about the special weapons again. I don't know, I just don't see the use out of most of these except for Maverick weaknesses. But at least his armor upgrades were given a bit of change. There's 2 sets of armors to collect like in X5 and X6, but in X8, you can now mix and match which armor parts go on your head, your body, your arms, and legs, and I love this. Yeah, you miss out on the exclusive perk if you don't have the entirety of one set equipped, but I love that X8 gives you the choice. Do I want this arm upgrade that gives me this spread shot, or this giant fuck you laser? And do I want to pair that with the leg upgrade that lets me jump higher, or the leg upgrade that gives me an invisible dash? It's all up to you, you get the benefits immediately after finding the upgrades. This is easily a step up from before, very much so. But Zero and Axel aren't left hung to dry, far from it. And thankfully, I'm glad to say that because I actually give a shit about Zero this time. Yeah, he doesn't get any armor upgrades like before, but he's got the double jump, his sword combos actually cover decent ground once more, and if you look hard enough, you can get some special weapons for the guy, namely this D-Glaive right here. Jesus, he gets so much range with this thing, and if you pair it up with this special ability from Dark Mantis, no common enemy will ever give you shit again. It makes getting the perfect rank in Optic Sunflower stage a total cakewalk. Axel ended up being the one I used the least, but not because I thought he was worthless. He's got a share of upgrades, I just liked X and Zero more. X8 doesn't have an auto lock-on feature anymore given how unnecessary it'd be for a pure 2D game, so instead Axel's sort of like Base now from the classic series. He can't charge up special weapons, but he can aim in many directions and makes him ideal for aerial threats. He still has his copy shot from X7, and I still didn't get much use out of it bearing 1 or 2 sections. In fact, maybe it's just me, but it seemed there was even less emphasis on it here than in X7. You know, it probably has more use to get optional stuff in this game, and because I didn't play as Axel a whole bunch, I didn't really see the need for it. And yeah, there's a lot to collect in Mega Man X8. You're going to be here for a while if you try to collect everything for every character. Heart tanks were completely taken out of X8. Now they're just relegated to these permanent health upgrades in the shop, which does make it easier to make sure every character has full health. So I'm actually pretty grateful for this change, but you have the returning sub-tanks for extra health, the special weapons and defenses for specific characters, armor upgrades for X. You also have these rare chips scattered across every stage that unlock more abilities for all 3 characters in the shop that requires these chips that enemies drop, that you can also find all over the place in every stage. This game loves throwing this shit at you. Mega Man X8 compared to the other games feels more like an arcade experience with how it awards you for doing basic shit. Like you're constantly getting rewarded money for destroying bad guys. You get this combo meter here straight out of Marvel vs. Capcom that measures how many hits you land at once, driving you to kill things faster for a possibly better score, and between stages you can check the shop to see what you can purchase to ensure further mayhem. I like all this, but in a way it makes Mega Man X8 feel a bit bloated with how much there is to collect and what it requires. There's so much backtracking as you need specific upgrades from specific stages with specific characters to even reach some of these things. For my money, I think it's better if you just focus on one character at a time. Maybe think about maxing out another character in another playthrough because you can do that. Mega Man X8 has a new Game Plus feature that lets you keep all the shit you bought in the shop before. Upgrades, your max health, all of that. So now you can spend those newly acquired chips on another character. Hell, with the right conditions, you can unlock a character's ultimate armor. You know, if you want to have an easier time, you can even unlock the Navigator's Alia palette and lair as playable characters. They require an obnoxious amount of chips to unlock. In fact, I only had the patience to unlock Alia, who's pretty much a female X. And she's a cool little extra. It's fun to finally be able to play as her, but gathering the chips to purchase this shit? Yeah, fuck that. But still, Mega Man X8 gives you plenty to do whether you're focusing on just one character or all 3. This is a good time, miles better than the game before it. I'm not against the idea of a 3D Mega Man game, just to be clear, but after X7's failings, which came after X6, I think it was important that they wanted to play it safe. Make a game that has the things people enjoyed in previous games, and I think they succeeded. Of course, I say that, and Mega Man X8 still ended up being one of the lowest selling games in the franchise, and the X series has been in limbo since. Mega Man X8 was released in 2004, and here we are near the end of 2018. Yeah, that's a long time. The damage was already done, sadly, but I think it's slowly getting better. We got the Legacy Collection, as you know, and there's strong implications that we're getting an X9 at some point in the future, and knowing Capcom, it'll be 2D, so we'll see how that works out in time. Actually, let's go ahead and cover the Legacy Collection real quick. Just real quick because, well, I already covered every game the collections have to offer, yet collections in plural. Listen, I don't know why it was broken into 2 halves. For one, there's clearly a bit of quality shift between the 2. I mean, in Volume 1, you get X1, X2, X3, and X4, while Volume 2 gets what feels like sloppy seconds. It's highly subjective, I know, especially for X5 and X8, but you're still paying the same price for Volume 2 as you're paying for Volume 1. I think it would have softened the blow if they were just combined into one package like in the earlier X collection. But that sort of leads into another problem. If you're getting both of the legacy collections for the extras like the galleries and trailers, you're sort of getting two of the same thing. You get the exclusive concept art for the individual games, but the product galleries and all that are exactly the same, and both also come with the Day of Sigma cartoon from the PSP game. And I understand why they did this is so they can cover all bases. Maybe you wanted Volume 1 and don't give a shit about Volume 2, and I really don't blame you if that's the case. But I know for certain that X fans bought both, so I don't know. I feel it's a little wrong that you have two collections that are sort of copies of each other in a lot of instances, and altogether it's $40. But every game runs relatively smooth from what I can tell. I mentioned before that I had a small problem with some lag on the PS1 games and some music stuttering when playing on the Nintendo Switch, but when recording for this video I didn't run into any problems at all. In fact, I recorded Mega Man X8 from the Switch version for this review. So I don't know if the bouts of lag are that random or maybe something was patched since the X5 and X6 video, but you can feel safe in knowing that the collections are pretty stable and an excellent way to experience these games without breaking the bank. The extras are a nice little distraction to boot. You can listen to every game's soundtrack. There's a plethora of images covering the series' conceptual stages and extensive multimedia lineup, ranging from action figures, models, and even comic books. But just go ahead and take a look at X in this video. If his helmet were any bigger, he'd be a dead ringer for Dark Helmet, goddamn. And come on, I know X doesn't like fighting, but this comic cover literally has him shedding a tear. What the fuck is this? But on the gameplay side of things, you have all these achievements you can try to unlock for every game, giving you some additional replay value, and that's all good. And as I mentioned before, Legacy Collection also gives you Rookie Hunter mode, which you can turn on and off at any time. It beefs up your defenses and power to make the game easier to complete. I think it's good for those looking to get into the games, but always found the difficulty too intimidating. In my case, it means I can actually play the beginning of X3 without having to worry about dying in 2 hits. Check it, this is the damage you take in the original. Fuck. And this is what you take when you have Rookie Hunter mode turned on. Yeah, much better. Rookie Hunter mode also ensures that spikes just damage you now instead of outright killing you, and it selectively makes you invulnerable to bottomless pits. I don't know, it seems to be more of a thing for the PS1 games than in the Super Nintendo entries because I can fall down pits in X6 just fine, and in X1 I still fall to my doom, it's odd. Out of curiosity, I booted up X5 with Rookie Hunter mode turned on and immediately fired the Eclipse cannon before fighting any Mavericks to skip straight to the final stages. Keep in mind, that's a 32% success rate, but here it worked without a hitch. Now I don't know if that was because of Rookie Hunter mode or I just got extremely fucking lucky, but I did find that amusing. I never actually got the cannon to work before, so it feels weird seeing this cutscene for myself for the first time here. The X challenge is the biggest selling point of the Legacy Collection. I didn't spend much time on it, but the idea is great. It's you as Mega Man X going against 2 Mavericks at the same time. It's only Mavericks from X1 through X6, and some are left out of the challenge entirely, sadly, but it is the ultimate test for veteran Mega Man X players. You're only allowed to bring 3 weapons from a predetermined selection, and it's up to you to make them last throughout the challenges given. There's a bit of graphical clashing here and there, namely when you're going against a Super Nintendo Maverick and a PlayStation Maverick at the same time, like it's clear who's from what era. And X's new custom sprite is just flat out ugly. Like, where did all his shading go? It's so flat in appearance. You're also only allowed to play as X for this, so Zero fans are gonna be disappointed if he's a favorite of the bunch. I do think that was a boneheaded exclusion. The man's been playable for years and he doesn't even get a spot here. But again, I didn't spend much time on this because, I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're facing off against 2 Mavericks at once and it requires a shitload of finesse to even complete it. It's for the tougher than nails Mega Man fans. I did play a couple of these stages on easy just to see the challenges ahead, and dear God, I dread doing some of these on normal or hard. Vile Mark II and High Max at the same time? Look at this, it's a fucking mess. But who knows, maybe I can make a live stream series out of completing the X challenge on normal and hard one day, but it ain't gonna be now because fuck. I'd say start with Volume 1 of the Legacy Collection, and if you really enjoyed yourself, then you should consider getting Volume 2. There's not much to salvage from Volume 2, but there are good things about it. X5 and X8 are perfectly playable entries. But I think that only matters if you liked what you played before and you want to get more out of it in some fashion. Either way, Legacy Collection offers plenty to do for your money's worth, so I recommend it. They're not all winners, but some of them are my favorites in high-speed 2D action. So go and get some Mega Man X action going on your console or your computer, or get it on the Switch so you can have it at home and on the go. Go ahead and do it. Don't make X cry now. And if Mega Man X9 happens, when Mega Man X9 happens, I'll be glad to sit on my ass here and see how the series moves forward. But we're still not done. There's one more game, one more Mega Man X command mission. I don't know how or why Capcom somehow got an RPG out of this whole thing. This was technically released before Mega Man X8, so I know some of you thought I should have covered this first for chronology's sake, but I don't know, going from an RPG and then back to the traditional formula just seemed odd to me, so we're saving the spin-off for last. I have no idea what to expect from this. I've never played this before, so here's hoping the marathon ends on a high note. We'll find out next time. With that said, thank you all for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic night, and take care.